No, he doesn't.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Downright Annoyed with Movies. My name is Michael. I'm one of the hosts of the Downright Nerdy podcast, and alongside my before I started doing that, I started doing this with Jackson from Bored and Annoyed podcast, and we started doing this. We thought it'd be fun to do a movie review show weekly live, and the best part is that we're not the only ones choosing the movies that we get to watch. So without further ado, I'm gonna introduce my co-host, Jackson. Thanks for coming back again.
Yeah, hopefully I can be here every weekend. I'm Jackson on boredandanoid.com. We are a weekly movie podcast, whether it be a review or discussing a certain topic. And I've got my cat just, of course, jumping up into my lap right now. But yeah, you can find us on Twitter at boredandanoid, no and in there, or just go to boredandanoid.com. You can follow that any one of the podcast platforms we're on. And yeah, follow us on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts.
Awesome. Great. And we got a couple of special guests here. Ken, we'll start with you.
Hey, I'm Ken from Pinkies Out Podcast, and you can find us on any of the podcasting platforms and Instagram at Pinkies Out Podcast.
Awesome. Cool. And last but not least, we have a trio of guests.
It's us.
Hello.
We're here.
We are so excited to be here right now.
We're the Fake Nerd Podcast. Three of us, anyway. The three of the Fake Nerd Podcast. I am Brandon C. McClure. This is Ben Magnus.
Hello.
And that's Ryan Eliopoulos.
Hola.
You can find us on Fake Nerd Podcast on all the Instagrams and Twitters and wherever you listen to podcasts. YouTube, Fake Nerd Podcast. We got a couple shows up there. So yeah,
Yes, we do.
We're everywhere.
Yes, we are.
easy to find.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Can
Well,
I quickly make a comment about how awesome that Scar shirt is?
Oh
Brandon?
yeah, is that great?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Hold back
Yeah.
that.
That's pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Good merch.
Stand up.
No, I can't. If I stand up, this whole thing goes flying.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw the Invisible Man, so I have to rep the Universal Monsters today.
Oh, there you go.
I
Nice.
missed.
No spoilers,
Invisible
but is
Man
it a
episode
thumbs
coming out
up or a
this week.
thumbs down for that?
I live in a gray hoodie in the winter.
Thumbs up. Big thumbs up. Big
Big
thumbs up.
Okay.
All the thumbs
All right.
up.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Please
awesome.
Go support it. Go support the
Man, I
movie.
feel like I'm missing out.
Invisible
Maybe I should
Man
do a date night tonight.
episode from the Fake Nerd Podcast this weekend.
There you
You
go.
heard it here first.
Cool. All right. So here's how it's going to go. I'm going to talk about the synopsis of the movie Stargate, the 1994 action sci-fi. And we'll go around the horn for our initial reactions before we get into like nitty gritty stuff. It'll just be like maybe a 2-sentence initial reactions, and then we'll go around and start getting into the details of the movie. So let's see. In modern day Egypt, Professor Daniel Jackson, played by James Spader, teams up with retired Army Colonel Jack O'Neill, played by Kurt Russell, to unlock the code of an interstellar gateway to an ancient Egypt-like world. They arrive on a planet ruled by Raj, played by Jay Davidson, who holds the key to the Earth traveler's safe return. Now, in order to escape from their intergalactic purgatory, Jackson and O'Neill must convince the planet's people that Ra must be overthrown. Cool. All right. Let's start with
Oh,
the fake
that's
nerd,
what the
guys.
movie's
Fake
about.
nerds. You guys
about
really,
purgatory.
really wanted to be on this show. Let's hear what you got. 2 sentences or less. Initial reaction
Wait, from each?
from each of us. Yeah, or each of you.
3
So-
words each.
I'm a huge Stargate fan.
That's
Uh,
one sentence.
Not because of this movie.
I have not seen this movie in 10 years. Not bad.
I think it's a totally enjoyable Sunday afternoon movie.
Ken?
I agree. I haven't seen it in a long time. I watched it with my youngest daughter, and I loved it this time just as much as I did, 20 some years ago when I watched it. So
All right, cool.
holds
Jackson?
up.
I do enjoy the movie, but the Roland Emmerich really stands out after you've seen his other movies, and you kind of see the genesis of what he, how much more ridiculous he gets as time goes on.
Same with Spader.
Right, but I think James Spader's probably the best part of the movie. But it's a little cheesier. Every time I watch it, I think I like it a little bit less, but I still do like it. So
Okay. All right. So my initial reaction is yes, I'm a huge Stargate fan as well, same as Brandon. SG1 is probably my favorite out of all of them. But in regards to this movie, to be quite honest, every time I watch it or it just pops up, the less I like it. So, yeah, that's just me. Cool.
I think I'm enjoying it because my youngest is 12. And she's a super nerd now. She's power watched all the Star Treks that are available on Netflix.
Good.
She's watched what her favorite was DS9, although we have a disagreement on that. Oh, I know, right? She's powering through the SG1s right now. I think she's on season 3 of SG1 right now. So, to me, it brings that joy comes back because I watch her watching it and her putting the characters together. I don't know, as a dad, that's really cool because my other daughter could care less about the sci-fi stuff. So she wants to watch, Survivor and crap like that.
Did you just diss DS9?
I think so.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
That's another podcast.
That's another show.
All right.
I'll talk about it some other time, but yeah, not my favorite of the Star Treks. I'll say that. So
I'm watching you pick these out.
Oh.
So you want to start? Who wants to start digging into this?
Can I start by just saying that I have never heard more obnoxious gun cocking sound effects in my entire life.
We were making so much fun of that when we were watching the movie earlier today.
It's horrible. I can't believe it. It's so bad.
Or how easy it is to put a nuclear bomb together.
Yeah.
Well,
it's also like I was talking. I mean, I can't. I think the fact that I dislike so many of Roland Emmerich's movies really makes me dislike this one too more because like the beginning of the movie, you're globe trotting and every 2 seconds you're like throwing up another place and you're telling us where it is at the bottom of the screen. And it just reminds me so much of his other stuff. There's also moments where it's like they undercut like good character stuff. Like at the beginning when Kurt Russell like is sitting there ready to commit suicide or whatever,
right, with his long hair.
Yeah. Right. And it's like you're soaking this in and you're like, oh, this is actually like a really touching, like meaningful scene. And then all of a sudden it's like Roland Emmerich thinks you're an idiot. So they make sure and have a scene of the 2 cops walking out being like, his son killed himself.
Yeah.
That was kind of stupid. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of that in this.
Or the wife saying, well, if you can get him to talk.
Right. Yeah. The exposition in it is just one dump. Like when James Spader's down by the hieroglyphs, like the hieroglyphic stuff, he's like everything about what happened in the movie, he just tells you. There's no subtlety. Not interesting. It's not interesting the way they delve that information out whatsoever. And I will say too, the Blu-ray copy I have, when they screwed up. So when they're speaking like the ancient Egyptian or whatever it is, the language that the aliens are speaking, and James Spader learns it or whatever, there's no subtitles that popped up on the screen. Yeah. So I got like 3 minutes into that scene where they're talking about, the bomb and how he made it 100 times stronger or whatever. And then I'm like, this can't be right. Like it made sense before because he didn't know the language, but this is like a whole conversation. So I had to rewind and turn on closed captioning. And then they had the subtitles, but you had to manually turn it on. So that was annoying as well. But yeah, that was my experience with the movie.
Or when you realize that Ra is from the Crying Game.
Yeah, I've had this DVD for so long. I've never bothered to buy it on Blu-ray because I didn't like it enough. And like I said at the top, I'm a huge Stargate fan. I think that Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, and Stargate Universe really utilize the potential of this franchise more so than this movie. Movie doesn't even touch a toe in the pool of what this franchise could be. That said, the quirkiness of a Roland Emmerich film, such as Independence Day and Godzilla, coming up is nowhere to be found in this movie, and it needs to be in this movie. It takes itself way too seriously.
It's so self-serious, and like the only charm comes from the actors trying to give this movie like any life.
Yes,
because it is a very stagnant kind of like. If it wasn't for James Spader and Kurt Russell, like man, this movie would be boring as hell. Maybe man, it looks really good, but there's not a lot going on. Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah, I gotta agree. SG-1 is 10 times better than this movie is.
The idea of like ancient Egypt and the aliens, like, because that's always been like this big rumor. I love that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I love all that.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Ancient Aliens, the show, is me and Riley's go-to, even more than The Office. And I'm wearing a damn t-shirt. But
it's a good popcorn show.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I think the main reason why I said what I said earlier is I just keep picking up on all the like little nitpicks, and they just start to like bug me in my head. Just for example, when we first see Kurt Russell, like he's essentially stroking his own gun and just ready to eat it, and they're like, hey, let's make him the leader of this mission that's probably the most important mission of all of mankind's history. And yeah, let's just forget about that whole. And it's never brought up again.
Well, it's because they want to sue. They want him to kill himself.
Right.
They're like, okay, we'll bring you back.
I get that.
Caught up at the end. It's like, we'll bring you back just so you can kill yourself.
But at the same time, with such importance of this first mission, I mean, you need to have somebody way more mentally stable than that.
Do they know that?
I'm sorry.
Do they know that he's in there stroking the gun though too? Like, do they know the?
No, he hides under the pillow as they open the door.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on, Michael. Be nice.
But the general basically reactivates him because he's like, hey, this guy's on the verge of dying. Let's make sure that it happens.
Let's send him halfway across the universe.
I will say that the one thing that is still consistent in this is the music. David Arnold is a composer. I think is probably one of his best works. I mean, and that's kind of saying like he's done a few things since then. I don't think he's done like any like superhero stuff. He should. But yeah, David Arnold's the music was incredible. I don't know if you guys thought the same thing.
Oh yeah, the score helps this movie significantly.
I really like the theme song.
Yeah, it's got a mix of like Indiana Jones, little Star Wars here and there, but like, it's enough of its own thing.
Yeah, but everything I like about this movie, like we were watching this movie like an hour ago.
Yeah,
and I kept like going back to like, oh, remember when the show did this or the show did that? Like I kept thinking about the show while I was watching the movie. I'm like, man, the show's real good.
But again, we wouldn't have the show without this movie.
I've never seen the show, so I've never watched any of it.
After you're done with TNG, TNG's better, but still, it's still good.
You should go and watch it. It's worth it.
The reason why the show is so much better is because they had so much more time for character development. And this, I mean, in the movie, everybody is so two-dimensional, and I mean, they've forced these relationships down your throat, like the one with the woman and Daniel Jackson.
The one white woman he finds in the
Ryan had a great
Egyptian population
in Egypt. Like, hey,
Ryan had an amazing a joke when we were watching this. Like after she gets shot by that staff and he takes her up to the magic sarcophagi, he puts her and Ryan goes, "Oh no, our chemistry!
Oh, the chemistry you guys built all this time! Oh no,
oh no!"
I like the bit with Kurt Russell and the kid.
Say again, Jackson. Sorry, I missed it.
I like the bit with Kurt Russell and the kid. I do think that was kind of clever.
Richard
I like
Anderson
that.
didn't want to do it. I know somebody just mentioned in the live comments they should have hired Anderson. He didn't even want to do the show. The writers had to beg him to take this part, and then by the third season, he's the executive producer.
Well, he talked about it a lot because, and making sure
he didn't think it'd make it. Well, he was on top with MacGyver at the time.
Well, because he was trying to
be successful. I mean,
when he was talking about doing the show
purely for money and.
Yeah.
Well, because like exactly what you said, like the characters are so two-dimensional, and so when Richard Dean Anderson was asked to do the show, he didn't want to do it because there was nothing to the Kurt Russell character. He was asked to be Kurt Russell, and he's like, I can't do that. There's no way. There's nothing there for me to chew on.
I feel like his character has the most to chew on, though. No, I mean, he's got like the dark past, and he's got the whole thing with the kid where the kid wants to play with his gun and his cigarettes and all that stuff, and he's got that whole like emotional arc in the movie. I think he has the biggest arc in the movie. Like,
I would agree with you if the movie cared about his arc, but the movie doesn't.
Yeah,
the movie cares about Jackson's arc.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the setup with Kurt Russell's character about his kid being dead and like seeing this other kid, like, oh, he could be my new son or whatever. Like the idea is there, but I think the execution is pretty bad. And it's kind of like the entire middle of the movie, they just forget about it until the end. It's like, oh no, you are my surrogate son now. I'm like, I need a lot more development.
Because again, Roland Emmerich is more
desert,
interested in the Daniel Jackson type characters. Like Daniel Jackson is Nick Totopoulos in Godzilla.
He's
like
every like schmaltzy scientist who no one believes. Every one of these
Jeff
movies.
Goldblum,
he's Jeff Goldblum in Independence Day. Like Roland Emmerich is more interested in those types of characters than he is the military, even though he still like loves the military.
Yeah,
he only doesn't care about them as characters.
It's weird. The set design's dope though. Everything looks cool.
I don't know if we could ever get a movie to get through a movie if we were all in the same room.
Oh no, absolutely not. We'd have to be in separate theaters. The so some like little fun facts about this. This movie was filmed in Arizona, and the all the sets that they made, like all the a lot of the extras, for that big battle scene at the very end where they're running on the sand, or when was it? Was it maybe not towards the end, but a lot of those actors quit after the first day. It was supposed to be like a 4-day film thing, but it was like 120 degrees in Arizona in the middle of summer.
Ooh.
And a lot of them just quit, so they had to just reuse a lot of things, and they used like zoomed in clips of the same clip several times.
Is that why it looks like there's 6 people there by the end of the movie? It just looks so small for an epic.
It will be.
There's one shot where there's like hundreds of extras, and I'm like, damn, they really went for it. And then it's like, oh, now we're back to 6. I'm like, oh.
Right.
Did anybody else have a problem with the antagonist Ra?
Looks cool, generic.
Well, again, that's where it bothers me that they did that exposition. That's where it bothers me that they did that exposition the way they did with the hieroglyphics or whatever, because it's like, why don't we spend some time with Ra to kind of, learn a little bit more about him, that rather than, oh, I've been here for 3 minutes and I read these walls and now I know everything and I'll just tell you everything. You know what I mean?
Ra, we don't even see Ra until an hour and 10 minutes into the damn movie.
Yeah, so I watched the extended cut. Does the regular one open with Ra being taken by the? Because this one did.
Ours
opens.
Did. Ours did.
Hold on. I was always wondering, what did the extended cut add, because I've never seen the original cut. I've only seen the extended cut.
With a little kid.
The original cut doesn't open with the alien taking Ra.
No, it does not.
You would be so confused.
That's a
it
mistake.
Starts with them unearthing the Stargate.
Wow,
in 1928.
That's a mistake.
That's
with the old lady getting the Eye of Ra from the.
We don't see. Oh yeah, okay. So see, that's the scene that I think doesn't need to be there. Is the 1928 scene or whatever, when they find the Stargate, because she tells him.
The movie that's from 1928.
What?
There's another movie that takes place before this movie.
No.
Oh, you're talking about
no. But my point is, okay. So you have that scene where she's a little girl and she finds the pendant or whatever with the Eye of Ra.
Right.
It's but then like 2 scenes later, she just tells James Spader that story anyways, and you don't need to see that. So if I were constructing this movie, I would replace the beginning you guys saw with the Ra being taken by the aliens, and then go right into James Spader telling or doing the little lesson that everybody walks out on, and then I would just skip that 1928 part, because I don't think that adds anything.
It's an unnecessary scene. This is hey, look how old it is. Like, right? No, we know it's old.
Right. When the old lady comes up
in the pyramid, of course it's old.
Yeah. Well, when the old lady comes up and says, "Hey, 60 years ago I found this thing," or whatever, that's all you needed. You don't need that other scene. It doesn't add anything.
Did anybody else have a problem with, like, James Spader had to find out what that last hieroglyph was, but
to come home?
If it's 7, couldn't they just try each one until they got it right?
They could,
but the permutations.
Did I miss something
huge?
No, because
one of the guys said that if they put the wrong combination in, they're gonna end up in the vast vacuum.
No, but they have the combination.
No, they don't have the
point of origin.
And they go to Abydos.
Okay, so I missed that part then, I think.
Hold on, though. But to your point, Michael, if the last one they need is the point of origin,
yep.
Is it even going to turn on if it's wrong?
Well, what's discontinuous is that when you go to the series, the wormhole works both ways, no matter from where you open it. You know what I mean? Because in SG1, they're on a timer. They'll open the Stargate in, say, a day. They'll open it up in case they don't have a dial home device.
So the people on Earth could have just opened it up. They could have,
but they didn't know that in the movie.
No, in the series, you can only go one way. You can't go the other way.
No, they can open it up from Earth and then get back. They've done it.
At the gate. Okay. I don't. Maybe we're misunderstanding each other. But if you open the gate on Earth to go to Earth, you cannot go through that gate. If you open the gate from the planet that you're on, you can go through it, but you cannot go through it if someone else opens it.
I guess
now I forgot. I haven't seen.
That was a whole plot point because they always have to like get to a place.
I guess I'll have to rewind. I'll have to pay attention. So, it's just to get communication symbols through, or
Either way, if it's the origin point that they needed to figure out the symbol for, then I don't understand what the fear would be with trying different, because they had every other symbol they had except for the last one, which was the origin point, right? So I don't understand why they can't try everyone like you just said, Michael, until they get the right one, because it is
footage they'd have to shoot.
That is a good point, and I can only say plot.
Yeah, it's just plot reason. Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't it just be written right there next to the damn gate like it was on the Earth gate?
Oh, it's you wrote it off. Oh, shucks.
Yeah,
in the desert climate, it's gonna
when they're on Abydos. Which, by the way, I know a lot of names and places because of the show, not because of this movie. In the show, they never once named the gold. And they never named the planet Abydos.
Gold.
And I was really shocked about that because I was like, oh, yeah, they're on Abydos. And I'm like, wait, are they never going to say it?
They never do. Because like you said Abydos, I'm like, wait, is that the planet?
Yeah, and the show, it gets reveals that the planet's called Abydos.
Okay.
So Brandon was telling me while we were watching the movie that you guys were talking about how like some of the raw stuff, like it's kind of unexplored and like doesn't make sense. Like you said there's a lot of production problems and like they did a lot of ADR with Raw and like the entire Raw subplot was changed to just be a generic villain.
Raw's also in the production of the film, Raw's translation is different. So they went in and added new subtitles to basically make him an information dump.
That's too bad because I would have liked to have explored Ra a lot more.
Yeah, but the issue is the movie made no sense without it. So they had, because the movie has no plot unless you have Ra being like,
unless you have an antagonist.
I'm going to take the thing to the Earth and you're going to all die. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I think that
the fact they don't even talk about what they're mining.
It's like a great idea of a movie that like if somebody told you like I've got this idea, it's a movie that explains, you know, why or where the pyramids, how the pyramids were built, science fiction, there's a gate, you learn about like the aliens that came and built the pyramids, whatever. It sounds awesome. In execution, not very good. And to be honest, I'm kind of happy that we're all kind of saying that. I didn't expect this.
I loved the theory, but yeah, you're right.
So Roland Emmerich was initially going to come back to do 3 of these movies. He wanted Stargate to be a trilogy, apparently. And so when Independence Day Resurgence was coming out, he said that we're getting ready to launch a new Stargate reboot that's going to launch the trilogy I've always wanted to do. We're going to remake the first one and we're going to do our trilogy. Because he hates the show. He thinks the show is awful. But and so he went back, but because Independence Day Resurgence failed, that the MGM was like, yeah, no, we're good.
Why do we keep giving bad directors movies?
It's called why is Michael Bay still alive? I mean, someone should have thrown him off a goddamn bridge a long time ago.
We need 12 more Transformers movies.
It's called failing upwards.
Yeah, it's a little bit of it's a little annoying to think like if they ever did do Stargate with a different director, I'd be pumped. But if they're going to do Roland Emmerich again, I don't give a shit.
Do you want to see redo it?
I mean, Denis Villeneuve would be the one I would pick. Somebody like him. You know, he did Blade Runner. He's doing Dune.
I was going to say
Dune. Yeah.
Dune.
I also heard rumors that that Roland Emmerich was actually going to come back to the movie franchise with Kurt Russell and James Spader, but it was going to be kind of based on the success of Independence Day, the sequel that came out. And
did anybody watch it?
They nixed it.
That's what I was talking. That's the same story I was talking about.
Right?
Did anybody watch that movie? I never even watched.
God, there was the second Independence Day was terrible.
It's
good,
not,
but I don't feel bad.
not as good as Stargate.
It's a good time if you watch it once.
Okay, so you're
It was
fans
good
of the
to
show.
laugh at.
Did you think? What did you think of Stargate when Ben Browder and Claudia Black joined?
I still liked it, not as much.
Yeah, because I loved Farscape. I was a huge Farscape nerd. So when they joined, I'm like, I didn't like what they did with that.
I didn't mind the start, and I think the last season is better than their first season.
Now, is that the one where they did the Continuum stuff, or
that's just before Continuum?
Man, you guys are all losing me because I haven't seen all these series.
Neither have I.
That's okay. You're watching Carnival Row, so
at the end of season,
Still
season 8 of Stargate SG-1, Richard Dean Anderson leaves, and Amanda Tapping leaves also. So when
Sanctuary,
but they wanted to keep the show going, so they did Ben Browder and Claudia Black. And that first season's really bad. That's season 9. That's not good. Season 10 though is actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
It ends really strong.
Cool. Good. I've watched Stargate Atlantis, and that's it.
I watched.
oh my
this
god,
movie.
that wasn't bad though. I wanted to hate Atlantis, but it was good.
I love Atlantis.
Jason Mimosa.
Something nice about the movie. I really like the design and concept of the Egyptian gods being the aliens with the helmets and all that stuff. I think that stuff's really
a lot
cool.
of that is built
Those were the
animatronics.
Those weren't the gods.
Well,
I really like the production design.
they think they're gods, though. That's the idea.
Yeah, it's like it's Thor. Thor is not really.
They are. If I remember the movie, I'm not trying to put it in the show's continuity, but if I remember the movie, it is that they are the reason why people worship those gods. Like like the guy's name is Ra,
Right?
And he said, "My name's Ra," and they're like, "Okay, worship Ra."
Right.
And they have like
aliens,
and the dudes with like the really cool masks is like Jimon Hansu is in the
Jimon
movie.
Right. Out of nowhere.
That dude's like 900 years old. It's amazing.
He plays freaking Horus, and there's a guy who plays Anubis, but they never say their names.
They both get nerfed. They both get killed.
Yeah. There's other
but
gods.
Anubis keeps coming back from the ascended
in this movie besides Ra, but we only know Ra because he's the only one who's everyone talks about. And then you got Anubis, you got Horus, you got
Apophis, Hawthorne.
Right. I mean, that goes back to
the whole pantheon.
How cool could this movie be? You know what I mean?
In this movie, the guards, Ra's guards, are named by the other Egyptian gods.
Right.
And because they're never named, it allowed the show to do something a lot cooler with that idea. But yeah, it's so weird that when we were looking up the IMDb and Jimon Hansu is like Horus, I'm like,
yeah,
what?
We're like,
because he had the hawk, the hawk thing.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys,
production
Nerd
design.
and Pinky's out, or Picky's out. You spelled it wrong.
I spelled it out. Oh, Picky's out. I've had a few.
So me and Brandon have had this conversation about Star Trek and how we believe that Star Trek is made for television. Do you guys believe that Stargate should be made for television, or can it hold its own as its own like movie trilogy or franchise?
It could be both. It could very easily be both. I think the groundwork is here for a really cool sci-fi franchise with a big budget scope. Like I can totally see this being like a 2020 reboot version with some, put Chris Pratt in and blah, blah, blah. I think you can absolutely turn it into something really cool. I'm not Chris Pratt. That's a guy.
I mean, it probably could. I don't know Stargate. All I know of Stargate is this film. So, and just hearing you guys talk about how great the television shows are, I'm thinking maybe Stargate should only be regulated to a TV show. But if you want to try,
it started as a movie.
I know it started as a movie, but apparently the TV shows are better, as you guys are saying.
No, so that's the difference between Stargate and Star Trek is that Star Trek is a show that is built around the episodic nature of going to a new place and doing something new. Stargate is not. Stargate could easily fall into that formula, which is why the show works. But the movie, the idea of the franchise is not inherently that.
Yeah.
So I think it could work as a. I think it works better as a movie, but it could easily fall into a TV formula.
Yeah, I've never seen the show, but I have no reason to believe. I have no reason to believe that they couldn't have made this good. I mean, that's kind of, and it's not horrible, right? I mean, it's not like the worst thing ever. It's not like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just not.
I mean, it's not as good as National Treasure, but it's good.
Oh, stop
Not
it.
many things are, Michael.
It's better than National Treasure.
No.
Oh,
I
I
will.
don't know,
No.
Nicolas Cage,
No.
though.
I will hardly disagree with you on that one, Jackson. National
Oh,
Treasure
come
is
on.
10 times better
Listen.
than Stargate.
National Treasure's a disaster.
Oh.
The score alone for this makes it better
Oh.
than National Treasure with their.
It's no Ghost Rider
Eating this
judgment.
up.
And by the way, go back and watch our National Treasure video from a couple
I'm
weeks ago.
devastated. You know what? Actually, before you just said that, I was devastated I couldn't be on that. Now that you've said that, I'm okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not on that either because I would have been fighting you the whole time.
When that
I think I was the only one who just completely laid into it. So
Guy who doesn't like Star Trek
It
First
was
Contact.
good.
allowed.
It was good.
All right.
Um,
Anyway, Stargate's cool, guys.
Stargate's
Yeah.
all right.
It's
They're
really
not the
cool.
show.
Yeah. I think the idea is like really cool.
The idea is cool. Some parts of the execution not that bad or
That's-
not that good.
that's right. That's the issue. Like
you need
I-
someone with a real vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys could change only one thing from the movie, what would it be?
Not
Only
having
one.
those damn gun cock sound
Yeah,
effects
me
every
too.
5 minutes when they're getting attacked by the gods the first time. Because holy crap,
it's embarrassing.
so bad when we were watching it. It's like really how it's the same sound effect too. And
For different guns too.
oh man,
It's
I was-
very embarrassing.
Oh,
yeah,
Eric
I'm
Hamilton.
watching this and they're all go like, I'm like, that's an MP5. That doesn't make that sound effect. What's wrong with you guys?
I really like this Fly Fox Pro guy.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you, Fly Fox. You're absolutely right. National Treasure is a solid concept. And it is
National
fun.
Treasure
How
is
about,
an
how about you, Ken? What would you change?
Michael,
No, I don't know. That's
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I think I skipped over a couple. Ryan, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I would give this movie one more polish of scripting paint with a better writer, because I think a lot of the concepts here are good. I just think it's a very kind of boring middle of the road. It doesn't like venture out into cool stuff. Just
Right.
one more, bring in like a prep writer, like
Probably
a
throw in some primer in there
a
too.
script doctor.
Yeah,
Bring in a script
Yeah,
doctor.
bring a script doctor to that.
Add some comedy.
I honestly,
And a new director.
yes.
I was gonna-
Honestly,
yeah.
though, I would have liked a little more intro in the beginning, a little more of Raw on Earth, like maybe a 10 or 15-minute build up to him being overthrown and then burying the Stargate,
Yeah.
and then jump ahead to them unearthing it, and just
X-Men
like a
Apocalypse.
2-minute thing of them excavating this in 1928, and then jump ahead to Jackson being recruited by the old lady to
What
the,
about this?
Cheyenne Mountain. That I
What
could have done with some more Raw.
You know,
You know
that's
what about this? You splice in the season 8 finale when they go back in time to Ra's reign and incite the
Oh.
rebellion, and
Yeah.
then you put it on this movie. Better movie.
Huh?
I was just gonna say, like, that's a good point. Like, we don't see the aliens build anything. I
No,
would have
I-
loved to have seen the
on Earth.
movie. Yeah, I'd rather see that movie
Yeah.
of that concept. Like the movie where the aliens build the pyramids and then in the end get overthrown by the humans on Earth is a far more interesting movie than let's
Absolutely.
send the bomb back to Earth. The MacGuffin needs to be shoved through the portal, and it's 100 times stronger than a nuclear bomb. That's not
Well, it's
very
because of the Naquita. I mean, come on.
Come on, it's the minerals.
Yeah, right.
I agree with you, Ken. And the more of a background would be the one thing I changed. I think that's one thing that really kind of keeps steering me further and further from the movie, and it makes me just if ever I want to watch Stargate, I'll jump right to the TV show, right? Instead,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna watch the movie. Why would I do that when the TV show is right?
Yeah, honestly, the TV show is so good. I don't think you have to watch the movie, to be honest.
Okay,
It's
so-
entertaining.
Everything in the TV show.
Michael, here's what we do: we open up the Stargate through a solar flare, so that way it loops back around to the open Stargate. So you come out in the past. That's a plot point. That's a legit plot point from the series.
Ooh.
I know it is.
And then you remake this movie.
Are we Star Trek 09ing it?
Yes.
Oh,
JJ, where are you?
Don't you be
Oh,
Star Trek
no.
doing it?
No,
Are
no,
you
no.
saying the Romulan or
Star
the
Trek
Klingon bird of prey around the sun backwards?
Slingshot.
I think you just add some quirk. I think if you just add some quirk to it, some quirkiness to the series, to the movie, it's better. It's
I
more
was
fun.
slightly joking, but we don't need like
No, you weren't.
super emotional depth. Maybe J.J. Abrams isn't a bad choice for this big sci-fi.
Maybe
good-looking
Superman
movie.
can just fly around the Earth backwards a few times and just
Oh.
rewind everything, so-
There you go.
Lens flare.
Poolside game.
Stargate time travel is always my favorite.
Listen, he has to direct movies that have star in the name. JJ has to do it. He did Star Trek. He did Star Wars. He's got to do Stargate.
Oh, don't even bring up his Star Wars.
Trilogy.
Just
Starship
please
Troopers.
don't.
Starship Troopers.
Do you want that?
No,
I didn't think so.
never.
So I mean, I don't know about you, but how about a final grade from everybody?
I'd
What do
give it
we
a B
do?
minus.
What do we
A
do? Do we
through
do
F, by the way.
numbers, letters? Do I give like
through- A through
Like
F.
school. It's like school grades.
C minus. C minus.
I give it a B. I still enjoy it. I don't care.
Hey man, look, we always say on the show, like what you like.
I give it a solid C.
So do I.
I give it a pass. It passes.
It passes.
Yeah, I think if you take it on its own without adding the series kind of in your mind, if you try to like divorce my
I think
love of the
some of
series-
us here did have them.
yeah. If you try to divorce the love for the series for this movie and just look at this movie on as a standalone, I think it's pretty average. It's a C. I think it's definitely a C.
C minus. I'll go C minus as well. Okay, so here's what we got going. I mean, unless anybody has any.
What
final
about
thoughts on
Jackson?
this movie, I feel like we've already.
I
Talked
said
about
did
C
we not talk about
minus.
Danny
Okay.
Jackson?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Is it wheel spinning time,
I
Michael?
think
Is
it's wheel spinning time.
okay?
Oh my
Now,
God.
now I
Jen,
noticed.
wheel.
Do you have names written on that wheel behind you? Are
So
there
here's
enough
what I
names?
did. Here's what I did because there's a weird number of folks here. What I did was most times we each had 2 spots on the wheel.
Okay.
Me and you, Jackson, we only have 1. All right, and I gave the audience 2 spots, fake nerds 2 spots, Pinky's out 2 spots. All
I
right.
can't believe it.
I don't know why you're
That's what
screwing
happens
up.
when I
on
wear. I don't
spots,
wear my
Mike.
glasses.
It's our
when I'm
show.
typing.
I mean, we should have every spot.
We should have every spot. That way, there's no.
So we're for sure going to do a Dune review though when that comes out, right?
Yes.
Oh, that
yes.
wouldn't be
Yes.
bad.
Yes.
I will totally.
We
be
are
part of
doing
that.
a book review and book discussion when the
Yes.
movie comes out. Yes, I'm
Hit
making.
me
Oh,
up.
I'm
Hit
in
me
on
up.
that. I would love to.
I've read
reread
those
that.
books completely through at least 4
We're
times.
all invited.
Okay.
You guys
so
want to
we
hear
could-
something crazy?
You've never read it.
Never read or seen Dune.
Oh,
We're reading it right now. Don't worry. Not too late. You have 11
bad,
months.
Mike.
Pinky's out. Are you?
I don't
throwing-
think you can get married until you read that. So.
Pinky's out.
Sorry,
Are you,
Riley.
are you throwing Dune out, the David Lynch Dune? If you win on this,
I'll
this
do it.
wheel thing?
You know what? As bad as that movie was compared to the books, I still enjoyed it.
Oh,
I mean,
Dude,
God.
Sir Patrick Stewart is in it.
It
I
is
don't know.
funny.
I don't know if I've ever made it all the way through it. So this would
What?
be an It's horrible.
What?
It's
own it.
horrible.
It's
So
not.
on our show, the Fake Nerd Podcast, we're doing, as Ryan said, a book review. If we can make it work, that we can have all of you guys on. You're
I
all
would
all.
love to do it. Shoot me an email. I
December.
We also wanted
Okay.
to.
believe me, my wife would love to have me talk to somebody else about that other than her. So
Yeah.
I haven't talked to you about this yet, but I think we should look at the original Dune.
Yeah.
Before we do
Oh, the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, baby.
And then we obviously
You guys-
review all the movie, so we'll review the movie.
you have
on our-
seen the 84 movie, haven't you?
I have.
I have
Okay.
not.
It's
I've-
possible that we're going to be talking about it next week. So.
That's very true.
Well,
Whoever,
my name gets called
Maybe.
again.
Jackson, though,
love
I got to tell you though, I
Herbert
downloaded the entire soundtrack to Heavy Metal, and I have been listening it on repeat
That's hilarious.
for probably 2 weeks now. It is one of the best soundtracks.
Has
ever.
it elevated the movie?
Yes,
for
it
you?
has.
Yeah, I can
I
imagine.
want to go back and do a retraction, increase my grade.
I gotta say, it's funny.
You gotta
I've
do
been-
the
I've been
2000 movie.
Recommending the movie to anybody who will listen. It's been
You
fun.
guys talked about Heavy Metal, and it's like, oh yeah, the movie that John Candy stars in. And I do not think of Heavy Metal as a John Candy movie. That's not the first thing that comes to my mind. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, I guess that's kind
That's
of
the first thing that comes to anybody's mind when
Yeah.
they
He
think
plays like 4 characters in it too.
Yeah.
Like he's in like every story in the movie.
Jackson, have you started what was the thing on Netflix I told you to watch?
You know,
It's similar to
Lock and Key or something.
no. Similar to Heavy Metal. It's the one that they were trying
Oh
to
no, I have not
Love, Death, and
started yet.
Robots.
Love,
You
Death,
have
and
to
Robots.
watch that.
that's a good show.
I need to watch.
I gotta
that.
watch it.
There you
Yeah.
Even if I stop petting you, you'll explode.
All right, shall we?
Spin
Do
the
it.
wheel.
All right. So
Spin it.
for those of you in the chat, so let's see, just in the chat right now, we got Mr. Kirk, Comics on the Mind. What's going on, brother? He's in here. I think we still got Fly Fox Pro. We got Solo Wookie. Poolside Podcast is here on the Facebooks. I don't think Rod's in here, or maybe Cookie's still in here. I'm not sure, but here's what we're gonna do. If it lands on the audience, I'm gonna put a starting line in, and whoever essentially picks the first movie, that'll be what we have to watch, and everybody has to watch it.
Can I real quickly? Solo Wookie, find me on Instagram. Let's chat about this. I want to know.
Sorry. Because if you review the movie again, you have to have me in. There's a ton of stuff you guys missed. Cool.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're talking about heavy metal, in which case no.
What are you talking about, Wookie?
If you're talking about Stargate, go ahead.
He's talking about heavy metal.
I
retract. Okay. All right.
Metal.
Ready this?
Fire. And real quick note while he spins, if anybody ever wants to hop in while you spin, you can go ahead and spin. But if anybody ever wants to hop into one of these, like Solo Wookie, feel free. It's open, man.
For real. All right. So I'll just do another spin real quick.
Good. Come on, Vanna.
Pinky's Out podcast.
Again.
That's right. You picked this, didn't you?
I did.
You were the audience.
We have to do the Dune movie from.
All right.
There it is. Dune. It is.
Flow.
Awesome. As always, everybody is invited.
Sleeper has
whoever wants to come up. We can only have 6 boxes on the panel. So I haven't thought about what would happen if several people wanted to come in.
Well, everybody just goes to the Fake Nerd podcast room and they join in.
There you go.
48 more mics.
What? That's it.
Bring your own mic. BYOM.
Yes.
BYOM.
Nice. I'll bring the beer.
There you go. Pinky's Out, brother.
Yeah. Ooh, what is that?
It is. All right, guys. So unless anybody else has anything else, I'm just going to go around the horn right now. Why don't you tell everybody where they could find you and all that fun noise?
Oh, it's us. What's up? What's up? Welcome to my house.
You can find us Fake Nerd Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. Just look up our shows. Type of Fake Nerd Podcast. I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Ben,
you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at BenMagnet27. You can also find me writing for OldSchoolGamerMagazine.com.
I'm DJ Tony Snark everywhere. I'm starting to do live streams on Twitch, so find me there. I play video games. I talk about movies and shit.
Michael, I do a Fake Nerds Watch series on our YouTube page, Fake Nerd Podcast, talking to Michael from Downright Nerdy about Star Trek Picard. That sparks witty.
Engage.
So, there he is.
He's back there. Oh, there he is.
There he is. Wave hello. He's
doing homework.
He's studying.
So, yeah, check out all that stuff. Cool.
Awesome. Cool. Ken, the man, 2 weeks in a row. It's fun. Hold on real quick.
Go ahead.
Jackson, we were talking about going on. You like the idea of streaks, and Pinky's out. He's got the longest streak at 2 right now. 2. You have the longest streak for nothing.
If
you haven't chosen anything in like the 5 weeks.
Well, he did have an extra slot on the wheel. Michael, we're gonna have to have a talk. There's a movie I've got in mind. I've had it in mind for 4 weeks now, and I want to watch it like crazy, and it never lands on me, man.
I spun it a bunch of times this time,
and mine's actually good. Like everybody would be happy as hell.
Hey, no.
Dude has quality.
Hey, Ken, where can they find you, brother?
They can find us on Instagram at Pinky's Out Podcast, YouTube at Pinky's Out Podcast. We're starting to do more with that. I'm going to probably try to do 2 or 3 times a week, jump on now that I got my computer working right. Or you can follow us at Comic Man Andy. He's part of the trio, and I'm not sure what Kurt's channel is yet because he's got some things going on. So, follow us, guys. We're here. You want to talk beer? Call me. You want to talk nerds? Shoot me up. So,
hell yeah. Awesome. They got a great podcast. I've been a fan of theirs since the beginning. So,
thanks,
Jackson. I am going to show this again, this comment, because I am planning on watching this. I was going to say, I think I'm planning on watching this in like 15-minute increments throughout the week because this movie is awful.
Power of Christ compelled.
But it should be fun. That's the thing, is when it's awful, maybe it's more fun.
It's so good. It's so bad. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. Like Stargate's too boring and bland for a good conversation.
This is Stargate on acid.
But no, I am Jackson with Bored and Annoyed. We do a weekly movie podcast. Either we're reviewing a movie or we're discussing a topic. I think the next one that gets uploaded is actually going to be on the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
No.
It's already out. I listened to it already.
Oh, it's up. See, he didn't even tell me that he uploaded it, and I don't subscribe to my own show. But yeah, so I've got to get that out. But yeah, so there's that. Go listen to it. And make sure you go subscribe to our YouTube, because every other week this show is on that channel. So next week, Dune will be hosted by yours truly. So and we're about to talk about this comic book right here in a couple minutes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
right here.
Saga. First 3 volumes.
So yeah, thank you for supporting and watching our show. I know we're not very likable, so it really means a lot.
Well, you're a cheesehead.
Hey, don't do that. Don't call me that. That's an insult.
Hey guys, all right. Thank you guys again. My name's Michael from the Downright Nerdy Podcast. You can find us at Downright Nerdy Podcast on pretty much everything. Downrightnerdy.com is our website. If there is something that you guys can do for us, make sure you guys subscribe to Bored and Annoyed's YouTube channel, because right after this, probably actually in about 45 minutes, we're going to be talking Saga right here, and all in all its glory. It's probably one of my favorite reads of all time. Actually, Pinky's out, your man, Comic Man Andy would definitely agree with that. And also, if I'm going to put one more plug in here, myself and Riley, we just about a week and a half ago, we put out a video for our big milestone giveaway. It's about a 15-minute video, won't take you very long, and it'll tell you how to enter and all the fun stuff that we're going to be giving away. It's going to be a ton of stuff. All this crap right here in the background is pretty much almost anything goes there. So it's going to be a ton of fun. So please check that out. It'd be awesome. All right. And one last time, around the horn. Thank you guys. Appreciate everything.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. It was a pleasure having us.
Never again.
Never again.
Of course you're from Wisconsin.
All right, man. I'm going to just pull a Comic Man in and you go, peace out. Pinky's out. See you guys.